Chris Wallace, one of the last Republicans on Fox News who's willing to question Donald Trump. The rest are in lockstep with him. They're afraid of being called fake news, which in fact earlier this week he did call them fake news. Right. So here he is talking about Trump's talk about how the only way he can lose is if it's rigged.
Look, the president obviously is going to make the case for himself and make the case against Joe Biden. But this is troubling, and he did it in my interview with him, I guess 3 weeks ago. He's done it repeatedly before and since. The argument that if he loses, it's because the election was stolen from him, not because a majority of Americans voted against him. Obviously, one of the things that we treasure in this country is the peaceful transition of power. Not saying that Joe Biden's going to win and Donald Trump's going to lose. But if that should happen, and there's certainly a possibility that it will, one would hope that whoever wins, whoever loses, that both sides will agree that was the judgment of the American people and they're going to abide by it.
So, Yasmin, I want to ask you a question. I've debated with several different people on the show over the course of the past month or so. Based on everything that you've seen and what you understand about American politics, the fears that I guess even implicit in this segment I'm expressing about how the election is going to go, how the days or week after the election are going to go, are we going to have a smooth transfer of power? Do you share those fears, or do you think that in the end we'll have an election pretty much like any other election?
No, we're not going to have an election just like every other election. It's already not that. And I think I've been saying this for a while, that Trump will not go quietly if he is not elected in November. I've been saying it for a long time, and people I think that I'm hyperbolic or overreacting whenever I say things like that. But I was like, why? I mean, I don't have any inside information here. I'm just going off of what he said. It's all there. If he loses the election, it was rigged, right? He's already sabotaging the USPS to enable this. He doesn't deny that Russia has been helping him. He says all kinds of things like, what did he say the other day? Oh yeah, all of his jokes about the election. He was saying that I'll only leave if I agree with the results. What does that even mean? Like, he's already disagreeing with the, projected results, He's not going anywhere. He makes jokes about staying longer, which he's done in the past before. Like, this isn't the first time that he's alluded to serving longer than 8 years as the president. So no, I don't think it's gonna go easy. It's already not easy. He's already doing all these things to kind of dismantle the system. And then any checks and balances that we would have had on that is not in place either, or not to the point that I'm confident in them. Congress hasn't done anything to stop him this far. I don't expect them to start in November. And then also the military and the police, all these things, it's just not lining up well.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of the oversight, we've got, they're going to bring DeJoy and some other post office officials in. Is that going to accomplish much? Yesterday, Francesca and I talked about it, and we don't have high expectations for that. I don't know. I guess we'll see. I want to be surprised. I'd love to be.
There's all these things that happen and it sounds good, but at the end of the day, what's going to happen? It's the same Congress that we're working with. It's the same president that we're working with. We already know what their goals and their motives are. We already know what they are not willing to do and what they are willing to do, as far as basically just sucking up to this president for the sake of having a Republican president. So I'm not optimistic going forward.
Well, so Chris Wallace there, you had pushing back a little bit against the president's rhetoric. It's a moment perhaps for conservatives on Fox News to sort of soberly reflect on the way Trump has talked about this. Is this actually how we want an incumbent president to be talking about the election? And so this morning we have a new tone, a totally changed tone from Donald Trump. Here he is talking about the election.
The Democrats want to make it a political issue. It's not a political issue. It's really about a correct vote. You have to get voting right. You can't have millions and millions of ballots sent all over the place, sent to people that are dead, sent to dogs, cats, sent everywhere. This is a serious situation. This isn't games, and you have to get it right. I just want to get it right. Win, lose, or draw. I think we're going to win. Win, lose, or draw, we have to get it right. You can't take millions of ballots, send them haphazardly all over the country or all over a state, and expect to come out properly. And if you look at the last 10 elections where they did this universal, and by the way, absentee is great. It's been working for a long time, like in Florida. Absentee, you request and it comes in and then you send it back. Absentee is great. but universal is going to be a disaster, the likes of which our country has never seen. It'll end up being a rigged election, or they will never come out with an outcome. They'll have to do it again. And nobody wants that, and I don't want that.
Okay, so again, absentee is okay because there you have to request the ballot and then send it in. Mail-in ballot isn't okay because he falsely believes that they just send out millions of ballots to anybody, no matter who, whether they're a human or a cat or a dog. None of that is true. It's the same exact process.
Get this stuff from, I don't know about you, but my bird in the garage doesn't have a mailing address. It's unbelievable.
I think its address is your garage now.
I guess. It's probably it. I should register him, right? But he just keeps repeating the same things over and over again, which is it's like an authoritarian tactic almost. Just to keep repeating things, whether or not you have any basis for them, whether or not they're grounded in anything, any kind of reality or fact or figures. But the more you say it, the more ingrained it becomes in people's minds. And then next thing you know, they start repeating it, and then it becomes a whole thing. So there's no evidence that anyone's dog is getting an absentee ballot in the mail, but people will believe it now that it's just come out of his mouth. Now it's a thing. He wished it into existence.
And the thing that I'm worried about is it like kills me to listen to these videos and then play them, but we have to know what messaging is going out to his fans. And so the idea that it's likely to be rigged, he's been saying that now, that's a standard line. The idea that it might take days or weeks or months or years to know who won, which again isn't true, that's a standard line. But now he's mixed in, they might have to do it again. We might need a do-over election, which nobody believes. It's not true, but that's an additional thing that his fans are gonna start talking about, that the Dems are setting up where, we might not be able to trust the first result, maybe we gotta do a second election. It's not gonna happen, but it is leading millions of Americans to have insane expectations about how the first couple of weeks of November are likely to go. And if you can get them to believe those sorts of things, you can get them to accept happily the Supreme Court stepping in and shutting down the counting of mail-in voting and all of that.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of my point from earlier is, all these things, he's lining them up very deliberately, very specifically, so that come November, come January, he has the buy-in that he needs already. It's already been there. He's already had people buy in since 2016 almost. Yeah. People are willing to believe whatever he tells them. He's the only source that they need. If nobody else confirms it, it's because they're all, paid out, or they're the mainstream media and you can't trust them anyway, or it's fake news, whatever it is. I mean, the whole fake news thing in and of itself was brilliant because he just immediately from the beginning discredited anything that any of the major news networks had to say. So anyone who denies him or criticizes him, easy, fake news. It's just like really easy. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to apply a whole lot of mental thought or, introspection even. You just say, oh, fake news, easy.
Yeah, it's been convenient. All the average American wants, most humans, but especially Americans, is a reason to not have to think about things that make their brains hurt. Like uncomfortable things, inconvenient truths, and those sorts of things. And fake news is a get out of thinking free card for every aspect of life.
I wish I had.
Exactly, it's all fake. This is fake news. You're on fake news. You don't even have to listen to me. You can just talk about whatever you want. For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.